Thank you. Commission Public, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first order of business tonight is application for special permit of Kimberly Malatirno, owner applicant, section 30, schedule A, permit use 18B for cottage food operation located at 329 Wood Pond Road. Can we hear the call for that, please?
Application for a special permit of Kimberly A. Malatierno, owner and applicant pursuant to Section 30, Schedule A, permitted use 18B for a cottage food operation located at 329 Wood Pond Road, Assessors Map 72, Lot 18, Zone R40.
Thank you. And the applicant, I need your name and address for the record, please.
Kimberly Malatirno, 329 Wood Pond Road, Cheshire, Connecticut.
Okay. Can we just hear a little bit about, we have some information here. It's obviously sugar cookies, I think I read.
Yeah, basically, like sugar cookies, custom cakes and treats, like maybe cake pops, that type of thing.
Okay. All right, so no sales out of the house. It's just basically.
No, I would, any customers, I would meet them either at their house or a venue or something like that. Nobody would actually come to the house.
Okay.
There would be no signs, no big like delivery trucks or anything. You basically wouldn't really know that there's a business there. It's just, I'd be working out of my house.
All right, perfect. Commission members, any questions on this?
You did
Mr.
say there's no
Mercado.
signage or anything being put up, correct?
Correct. I would not put any signage because it's a neighborhood. It's not, a storefront. So
None? Okay. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this? See none? Okay, relatively quick. Thank you, and I will close this public hearing.
thank you.
Number 2, application for special permit, Peter Megan Gray, section 30.5 for construction of accessory apartment per plans at 1369 Cheshire Street. We hear a call for that, please.
Application for a special permit on behalf of Peter and Megan Gray, owner and applicant, pursuant to Section 30.5 of the zoning regulations for the construction of accessory apartment per plan submitted, located at 1369 Cheshire Street, Assessors Map 30, Lot 141, Zone R40.
Thank you, and name and address for the record, please.
Peter Gray, 1369 Cheshire Street, Cheshire, Connecticut.
Okay, can you just describe what you might be doing a little bit?
So we currently on our property have what we refer to as the carriage house. It's a slightly dilapidated, unusable structure. It doesn't have a foundation under it currently. It's sitting on field stones. We'd like to renovate it and put an actual foundation under it. And my mother-in-law is going to be retiring in the next 2 years. And as she's in her early 60s, we want to give her her own space and some privacy and yet still have her close so that, she can help us take care of our kids and, just be close for the coming years. We're not really interested in sticking her in a retirement home as she gets older. So again, just kind of giving her own privacy instead of giving her a bedroom in our house just seems like it makes sense. The space is going to be on top of the existing footprint. I think per the plans, we're expanding out about 5 feet wider than the existing footprint. We were originally interested in renovating the existing footprint as it were, but just due to the condition of it and the lack of foundation, we're probably going to end up having to remove most of it. We'd like to just make a living space for my mother-in-law.
Okay. And as far as it being not attached to the actual structure, it's still considered a
It is
accessory
attached
apartment?
it is attached to the existing structure.
It is attached?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
It's- No, it's not the separate building. It's the back portion as you're driving up Mark's Place. It's currently red. I don't know if you can really tell from the
So
pictures.
on this here, it's the back portion here?
It's the back portion, yeah. It's
Okay.
it's a
I'm
little
sorry.
narrower
When-
than the rest of the
When you
house.
said it was like a garage or something with no, I just assumed it was the one that wasn't connected, so,
That's fair.
okay. Commission members, any questions? Well, okay. Anyone from the public? None. Okay. Thank you, and I'll also be closing this public hearing.
Thank you.
Number 3, application for modifications, previously approved special permit on behalf of BFAM Investments LLC, owner Dan Onofrio. Application is for change previously approved plans associated with construction of a single-family residence located at 129 Mountain Brook Circle. We hear the call for that, please?
I'll be recused myself from this one.
Okay. Mr. Selma has been recused.
Application for modifications of previously approved special permit on behalf of BFAM Investment LLC. Owner David Onofrio. Agent. Application is for change to previously approved plans associated with construction of a single-family resident located at the property 129 Mountain Brook Circle, Assessors Map 89, Lot 32, Zone R80.
Thank you, and representing the applicant, name and address, please.
Yes, David Onofrio, 129 Mountain Brook Circle, Cheshire.
Okay, do you just talk about the application at all?
Basically, not much of change that we did. We widened the driveway a little bit for fire access. And that's pretty much it. We put a swale in to control water that was coming from up above. That's been done. I don't know if you have any more questions about any of that.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
maybe just for the record, I can clarify a few things why this application is before you.
Yeah, please, I thought.
So in your packet, you have a staff report that shows the 2016 approval from the commission, which was for a rear lot access for the development of this property with a shared driveway with the property that's to the southwest behind this. There's an access way, a cul-de-sac, or we'll call it a cul-de-sac, that was supposed to be 15 feet wide with 6-foot stone shoulders as per the regulations. So the first change that occurred there is the applicant has widened the driveway. Stone shoulder was placed along the southern side of the driveway. However, it's not the width that was shown on the approval from 2016. So staff, this is a large change that we do not have that authority to sign off on. So that's why that's here before the commission. The second kind of substantive change that occurred is the grading around the house. The grading is, as you can see from a memo dated today from Merrick Komet, the town engineer. The elevation actually is about approximately 9 feet lower than what was on the approval in 2016. As a result, there was an intermittent water course that was behind to the southwest of the house that was disturbed and altered, was subject to an enforcement action, both from a zoning enforcement standpoint and also from inland wetlands. And Mike Stroll, Assistant Town Planner, is here if you have any questions regarding those enforcement actions. As a result, the applicant, through corrective orders with the Wetlands Commission, had to make some changes and alterations of this feature behind the structure. There was some construction discharge that was associated with some of the changes that occurred. None of these were approved by the town. We did not authorize any of these approvals. I just want to stress that all this work was implemented without our authorization. Hence why he's here, because these are large changes that really the commission should weigh in on. At this time, he submitted an as-built. However, you could, as I referenced before, the memorandum dated October 12th from Merrick Komet, you could see there's about 9 items that are outstanding that need to be addressed in order for engineering to complete a thorough review of the changes. Along with, the fire marshal has not signed off on the modifications to the driveway, because one of the things that we've asked for in these comments is the width, what's the actual width of the driveway shown on the as-built? Because there's no dimensions if you look at the as-built closely. What's actually the percent grades of the driveway? Is it safe to get in and out to this house? Along with, there's some modifications to the clear zone. As I said earlier about your regs call for a 15-foot wide paved served access way with 6-foot stone, which is supposed to be compacted so that it could support a fire apparatus should they have to access this while someone's coming down or for whatever reason. That's not here. Instead, we have it's like a pea stone material that's not really compacted. It does not appear it conforms to the 6-foot width that's required in your regs. However, like I said, this is still needs further information in order to complete the engineering review. Also, we're asking for a certification from the design engineer, certifying that the work on the swale has been completed in accordance with the approved plan, and that his professional opinion that changes will not have an adverse impact to downstream neighbors, because you've altered a water course that was behind the home, and changing the grades. We want to make sure that you're not flooding out your neighbors by doing this, because this is part of an approved special permit, part of an approved subdivision, and it's a lot. Like I hate to keep saying it's a substantial change, but it is. So that's where we stand as staff at this point. So Mr. Onofrio is aware of this. We spoke earlier today. These comments have been forwarded to his engineer. He's working on addressing them. But at this point, as staff, we're going to say engineering hasn't completed the review, in our opinion, that the submittal is incomplete. And go ahead.
Is your engineer here tonight?
No, he is not here tonight because I dropped off the as-built, if you can hear me. I dropped the as-built off to the engineer last Thursday. And I asked him if he had any questions, would he please contact me or the engineer Dave Nafis. I called all day yesterday, must have left 8 messages, didn't get a response. Finally got a hold of the engineer today, and he said that he had forwarded his comments to Planning and Zoning. Planning and Zoning then emailed me the comments that were made at 11:30 this morning. At 12 o'clock, I was at the Nafis's office, and he was working on those at 12 o'clock. So they're in process of being done. Also, with the regard to the swale, we went in front of the board for inland wetlands. They asked for a design to be made. The engineer designed this particular swale, and it was supervised as we were doing this swale. The swale has been done probably for 3-4 weeks. I then approached the officer for planning for wetlands and told him that the swale was completed, that the engineer had been supervising this. It is complete. If he would like to come and check it out, that would be fine. Is there anything else that needed to be done? It is going to be put on the as-built, which it was put on the as-built. He said, no, okay. So as far as we were led to believe that was it. I would have had a letter of certification 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago if I knew that. We didn't know that until 11:30 this morning. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we're trying to be proactive, and we're trying to be, friendly for the neighbors, for people that are going to live there. We were supposed to put in 15 foot of pavement. And then on each side of the pavement was supposed to be 6 foot of crushed stone, compacted crushed stone. We did that. We took out the curbing that was there. We put 6 foot of crushed stone on both sides, and it kept washing out. Every time we had a rain, it washed out. It was in the cul-de-sac, in the driveway, had to send crews back, clean up. So we upgraded the stone to a larger stone. Still, we got 1.25 inch stone that's still washed out. The stone that's there now is the smallest stone that can be put there without washing out and still being able to drivable. I could drive my pickup truck on there with no problem. A car could go on there with no problem. Certainly a fire truck could go on there. What we also did was, we're supposed to have 6 foot on each side. What we did was on the left side of the driveway, where the curbing was, because it was such a problem and everything was washing out, we spent extra money, and instead of putting 6 foot of crushed stone there, we paved it. Then we put the curb back. Once that was done, never had another washout, never had another grain of sand in the driveway or in the cul-de-sac. The neighbors were happy, everybody was happy, and it works for everybody that's living there. It cost us extra money to do that, but it worked out really, really well. So that's, one of the things that we did do.
The only thing, I mean, that might be work out, but I would tend to lean on the fire department to make sure it's acceptable from them, because they are the experts that would need to get there in an emergency or not.
Yeah, oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
it might be the right thing to do or not, but I can't take your word for that. I'm going to take the fire department's word for that.
The fire marshal is coming to the site to meet with me tomorrow, 9:00.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have that resolved. And we do have the 28 feet that we're supposed to have, and the curbing is outside of that. So we do have the width that they asked. The only difference is that instead of 12 foot of crushed stone, 6 on each side, we've got 6 foot, and we paved the rest. So it's actually, it's more pavement, 21 feet of pavement, as opposed to 15 foot of pavement. So we figured it'd be easier access for the fire trucks and so on. As far as the washouts and swale on the other side, we had one very, very, very large storm. And other than that, it had, and we never altered that waterway. The water came in exactly where it always came in on our property and exited at the exact same spot all the time, even during the big washout. But I want the board to understand is that we've done everything we can. It wasn't that we turned the faucet on or let water run or we didn't divert anything. The water came from up above, entered the exact same spot, came and exited the same spot. So that this doesn't happen again in another 150-year flood, like that was a crazy, crazy storm. We have engineered a swale that's monstrous, and it was supervised almost daily by our engineer, Dave Nafis. We followed the plans that he gave, that we submitted to the inland wetlands, and has been completed. And the letter of certification will probably be in the town hall tomorrow.
Okay. This was 2016, we originally approved this?
That's correct.
Or originally approved it a long time before that, but it
was
came
re-
back again in
it
front of
was
us in
renewed
2016. Can we make the 2016 part of the record for this? Because you talk about changes that were made on the site. Can we see the changes? And I would like to request that you bring your engineer in here so we can see the things that were not done on the original approval. And who knows what other problems you're speaking of that it could have caused from that, or could have come from up top. I don't know.
Absolutely. If the board would be so kind as to keep this open so that I could come back to the next meeting.
You have to answer all these questions. So
And they'll all
absolutely.
be answered way prior to that.
And I would suggest having an engineer.
And the
here.
engineer will be here.
Your
Absolutely.
engineer, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So can we at least get a copy of what the original plan was when they came in not the original, but the 2016 plan?
So I have just a quick snippet of it that's in my staff report. I can provide you the larger print of that so that you can
Just so
see.
we can see if there was things that were done that were not supposed to be
Yeah.
done from the original approval. Yeah, I think it would help us make a decision.
I also have a few documents associated with the approval. With the 2016 approval that I thought you'd be interested to see, such as there's a engineering report from Don Nolte at the time that kind of breaks down some of these issues, which, come to light later. For example, it's a document dated May 4th, 2016. One thing about the water course we talked about earlier, it was referred to in that. It said, basically don't touch it. Otherwise, if you increase drainage there, it could have a problem. So also the other thing about the grades of the driveway, why it's important, both from engineering, but also the fire marshals, that was part of that 2016 review. So I will gladly put the plans in there. In addition, you have these documents.
Can you highlight
Oh,
those changes on the plan so it makes it real clear what
Yes.
the difference was? And was there any damage done to any neighbor's property or the area at that time?
I'll defer to Mike. He was here when.
Yes, there was damage done to 135 Mount Brook Circle, which is downstream from there. When the water course was disturbed, there was an extreme amount of rain that time, but the intermittent water course was disturbed. There was a clear channel. That channel was disrupted, and the flow of the water came rushing down. And from what the homeowner down below says, probably about $150,000 worth of damage. Stone walls, koi pond in the pool is what they attributed to from up top.
And so that's all recorded. Was there anything looked at to take care of that or? just-
Yeah, we are in the process of working with the neighbor now, with that right now.
Mr. Kaderis.
That's the question for staff. Given that it appears that there's non-compliance here, what is the most efficient and effective way of having the applicant come into compliance? Would it be to deny it or give them 35 days? And, overall, which is the more effective way of going forward?
So, I mean, I would suggest that we see if we can modify, if modifying the special permit is appropriate first, to work with him. If we can't come to a resolution that is agreeable, then it would be subject, I would suggest to deny the permit, and then we would have to deal it from an enforcement standpoint going to court. The issue is going to be, one of the substantial changes that occurred out there is that 9 feet difference of grade that's shown on the approved plans. And you have a house that's on top of that hill now. If it was still, the foundation was still under construction and you didn't have a house that was framed, you could say, well, stop work don't frame your house, rip the foundation out of the ground and start all over and follow the approved grading plan. So that's the dilemma we're in, since the house is complete on top of the hill.
And with the 35 days, do you think it's practicable to be done in 35 days, or would all parties be better off if we denied it, gave them time to come into compliance and come back to us?
Well, I mean, it really, as I said to Mr. D'Onofrio earlier today, it depends on right now, his destiny is controlled by his engineer. He needs to provide.
Who's not here?
Who's not here. He needs to provide certifications and address the concerns of the town engineer. If those two gentlemen cannot agree on a resolution, then our recommendation is that the application is not compliant with your regs and it should be denied.
And also wasn't followed from the original 2016.
And we have an open enforcement action in, what was it, August of last year? Sorry, Mike, I don't mean to put you.
The first letter was issued September 9th of last year and that was for erosion controls and for
Of 2021?
2021. And then in wetlands, we took over.
So
I'm sorry.
this house was built in 2021?
The construction started then. October 28th, 2021 was the cease and desist through inland wetlands.
How far along is the house now?
House is complete. We couldn't stop construction of the home.
Even though it
even
was
though-
not?
Yeah. No, we did not have the right to do that.
That makes no sense to me.
That's what we got.
A violation of where the house went and everything else, and he was
Well, we
allowed to
didn't-
continue to build his house?
So let me just clarify one thing, maybe, because that's what I think the commission's struggling to understand. We didn't see the grade difference change until, as he's dealing with the Wetlands Commission, and he engages his surveyor, he engages his engineer, we're getting up-to-date plans, and all of a sudden, that's where this discrepancy in grades was discovered. So visibly, you had a house on top of the hill, and from, quick inspection from the road, you still have a house on top of the hill, but it looks like they cut into the hill further, meaning altering the swale in the back, let's call it, or the stream, intermittent water course, I'm sorry. once the review went further with wetlands as part of their enforcement action, it was discovered that, wait a minute, the approved plans say this 9 feet higher than what you did. So then it kind of alluded to, well, here's our problem. You cut into the hill further than what you said you were going to do. And not saying pointing, so that's kind of the crutch of the issue here when it comes to at least the site prep that occurred.
Also on the approved plan, it says to maintain drainage swale. And the drainage swale was clearly cut into on the plans.
If I could address the board also.
1 second.
Sure.
Mr. Kadesh.
Question for staff. If he's given the 35 days and is not able to come in compliance, what will happen then?
We would forward the enforcement matter to the town attorney and then pursue it through civil court. Because we have a
So,
cease and
so,
desist.
so if the applicant wants to go further, has a serious risk. And if we deny it without prejudice, that would give him time to come in compliance, would it not?
Correct. You can come back with something that meets regs or, as I said earlier, address some of the engineering and design issues that we've seen based on the changes that occurred to the plan.
And there's nothing in our regulations that allow to stop for construction, whether it's
Even
violation or
permits,
not.
inspections,
Even
permits,
permits.
nothing.
I put a show cause hearing onto the building permits. They continue with the building permits. What it is, stop the CO, the certification of occupancy. That's it. We have nothing in our regulations.
Well,
Otherwise,
if I could address the board here a second. This is the first I'm hearing about being 9 foot off. I don't know where that comes from. I think we need to get our engineer in here because I don't think that is quite the situation. When we did the foundation was in, and then we had the engineer submit something to the town. And there was no problem at that point, and we started framing. So I don't agree with this 9 foot at all, number one. Number two, the swale, we never altered the swale at all. The swale was on the far corner of the property. The swale got altered through that monstrous storm that we had. The water came down there, I mean, it was 8 inches per hour or something. I mean, it was something that was absolutely crazy. So we didn't modify that. We didn't touch that at all. Water entered where it always entered, exit but when it came through, it was quite devastating. But it was, a 150-year type flood. Since then, we have worked with the inland wetlands. We have modified the swale as accordance to what our engineer and inland wetlands required, and it's been done and it's been approved. So I think that the reason why the engineer is not here today, because we just got the information at 11:30 this morning. He's working on it. I figured there was no sense for him to come here if he didn't have all the answers or documentation that you would need. But he will certainly be here at the next meeting. He'll probably have everything completed by Monday or Tuesday. So, I'd like to have him address the board because
I
there's
would
no
like
way
him
that
to
we're
address the
9
board,
foot
too.
off. That's impossible.
Well, we'll be able to see from your as-built and the
Absolutely,
absolute approval.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
if he can explain that to us, that would be
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Mr. Kaderis.
You understand that if we continue this meeting and you can't come into compliance in 35 days, there's a substantial risk for yourself.
I understand that, and I believe,
And if we deny it, we'll actually give you more time
Yeah.
to come into compliance.
I understand.
If possible.
I appreciate that.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I have
Yeah.
not made no inclination of whether it would be approved or not. But
Yeah.
by going forward, you understand the risk.
I understand the risk fully, yeah, and I believe that fully that we have, we're a lot closer than, what we think. Even with the driveway, we didn't touch the grade of the driveway. We took the blacktop off. The process was still there. Just level the process and put the blacktop back on. Then, and they did a turnaround up on the top like we were supposed to, and we got that as flat as possible without having a step in the driveway. So, it is a difficult driveway. And there's no You know, I'm not denying that at all, but I'm saying that we did the absolute best we could. The engineers did, and I think it works for everybody. Mr. Riccitelli is here. He lives up in the back, and he can verify that it's not any steeper now than it was before. All we did was take the blacktop and put brand new blacktop right on top of the crushed stone.
Or like I said, we'll see the original approval and then we'll see your approval. We'll listen to your engineer.
Absolutely.
We could talk to her blue in the face, but he's
Yeah.
the expert and I'd like to hear from an expert.
I
So,
appreciate, no problem.
Commission members, any other questions? No? Anyone from the public wishing to speak?
I'm here for the driveway.
Okay, if you have anything to say, ask questions or anything, I just do need you to come up to the mic and you also have to name and address for the record and whatever, the floor is yours, whatever you want to speak to.
See those Yankees last night?
That was nice, yeah.
So Rich Riccitelli, 125 Mountain Brook Drive. Sure. RICCITELLI. So yeah, look, I'm here for the driveway. I don't know how you got to where you are in the house. 9 feet's a big difference. And I don't know, you say you drive by and it's a house on a hill. I don't know. Maybe some other things should have occurred. But anyways, look, the driveway, I'm not sure the comment on the grade change. And we can verify that didn't change. And what we did is improve it. You were looking for 15 feet. We gave you 21 and a curb, and I could show how it gets washed out because the whole driveway goes like this. Previous owner had problems. He told me you're not going to get away without a curb. Curbs are ugly. You don't really want a curb, but it's the only way to get it to work. And if a fire truck can't get up to his house, I don't know how it's getting to mine, which is only 15 feet. We put a highway in. It's not attractive. Who wants a 21-foot blacktop going to your house? But we did what was right.
Okay, well, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but for me anyways, I just want the fire department to look at it and
Yeah.
and the inspection's coming tomorrow. So what you're saying is you're happy with the driveway
I am.
as it is now, but that's fine and dandy, but again, they have to look at it and they're the ones that will make the decision.
Yeah, and that's
let us
also
know.
what I wanted to verify. They will make that decision. What I heard is you can't make the decision without them. So the fire marshal
The
will
fire
say-
marshal will comment and make a decision whether the fire apparatus can get up there and everything safely can occur. If in an event of emergency that gets up there, but they're the ones they might bring a vehicle there to test it. I don't know what they're
Yeah,
going to do, but, and they will report to Mike and then it'll get to us. And
Okay,
we always go by the professional's opinion. So
perfect. Okay, thank you.
thank you. Mr. Dawson.
What about the town engineer?
He gave us tonight,
I'm
he came in a little bit late, but there was, I have it here. You have it somewhere here too.
Yeah.
There was 9 comments that he wants addressed, which his surveyor is working on it. He got it at 11:30 this morning, so I got assurance that your surveyor will be at our next public hearing and hopefully have answers to all this and whatever else he might be able to offer us.
The grading, has he given any testimony? I watched.
It doesn't, I want the surveyor to do it. He could, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's,
Oh,
I want to hear it from a
he had
professional.
no-
He said there was no change to the grade, but I want to hear from a
Oh,
professional
absolutely.
of
That's what
whether
I
it was or not.
Did he have a building permit?
He must have got a building permit at some point,
I'm
so.
just asking at this point. Do you have a building permit?
Yes, absolutely. All the departments signed off. We got our building permit. The house is complete.
Okay.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak on this? Commission members, anything? This is being held open, so. Okay, I'm going to hold this public hearing open till our next meeting, which is, I don't know when it is. but
24th.
The 24th, October 24th. Okay, can I entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing? Move Mr. Kaderis, seconded by Mr. Mercado. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. What do I do with my stuff? Okay, I'd like to call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting for Wednesday, October 12th, 2022. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes from the regular meeting from 9/26/22? Moved by Mr. Kaderis, seconded by Mr. Selmont. I am going to recuse myself. I was not here for this meeting. I believe I can still call the vote for it, right? There's no reason why I can't. Can I call the vote for? Yeah, I'm recused. I'm just going to call the vote. Okay. All those in favor of any discussion, corrections on the minutes? None. Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? And I'm abstaining. Anybody else? 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. So I got 701. Okay. Under communications.
Jay,
Yes.
I wasn't at the meeting, but I watched the video. I don't know if that.
So you're still okay. You know, I'm going to skip communications. I should have done this before, but let's go to the motions on Kimberly Waltonero. Do we have a motion for that?
Yes, you do, Mr. Chairman. Motion to approve application for special permit Kimberly Montanaro, owner applicant pursuant to Section 30, Schedule A, permitted use 18B for cottage food operation located at 329 Wood Pond Road, Assessor Map 72, Lot 18, Zone R40. Approvals per plans provided by applicant. Further, Cheshire Planning and Zoning Commission find that the applicant has demonstrated compliance with the standards set forth with Cheshire zoning regulations 30-18B.
Move that forward.
Move Mr. Cotto, second by Mr. Kaderis. Any discussion on this motion? Best of luck. Yeah, exactly. Should have brought some cookies in for us. All those in favor of the motion? Yeah. Signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. You're welcome. And how about for Peter Gray, the
Yes,
accessory apartment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Motion to approve application for special permit on behalf of Peter and Megan Gray, owner applicant pursuant to Section 30.5 of the zoning regulations for the construction of accessory apartment per plan submitted, located at 1369 Cheshire Street, Assessors Map 30, Lot 141, Zone R40. Commission find that the applicant has demonstrated compliance to the standards set forth in Cheshire zoning regulations 30-5.
Move staff order.
Move Mr. Dawson, second by Mr. Kaderis. Any discussion on this motion? Sensing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. Good luck to you, sir. Okay, go back to communications. Transcend Wireless. What is this? I started reading it and.
That's just a modification to existing telecommunication tower.
Yep.
They're changing their cola locator, basically the antennas that go on the tower for a carrier. It's exempt from local zoning, but like I told you in the past, remember, I've been trying to make sure when these siting council applications go forward, so that you're aware of them. You're going to start seeing a lot of them because the carriers are making a lot of improvements to the towers throughout.
So this was just for our knowledge of something
Just-
that's going on down there?
information.
There's no
Yep,
vote?
There's no
Okay.
action.
Yeah.
Yep. There's no action that's requested of this. So whenever I get these siting council applications, you'll come in as communication. If there is a reason why the commission should make a comment, similar to the solar panels, remember we commented on those that were going at the correctional facility. We wanted to see that the council requests some landscaping along Contour Drive. I'll bring those in, and that's when you'll get not only the correspondence, but something from staff saying, hey, we want to look at this portion of the application. But this one's pretty straightforward.
Do we know anything with 5G and the actual true safety of it and the height? Because that's not a tall tower as what's back in the Quinnipiac fields over there. Is there any issues there? Because 5G puts out some power. I don't think it's what you hear on the news and Facebook, but.
Yeah, so that's actually part of the review that the siting council does. They actually require some analysis, and it's a deeper dive into exactly what are the impacts to those features. So, I mean, I don't want to comment on it and tell you, oh, don't worry about it if it's at X feet high off the ground. But that's part of what the siting council does.
Okay. Number 3, obviously held open. 4, 5, 6, and 7 have all been scheduled, correct?
Correct.
Did we schedule a new business already, or?
So you have a receipt of a new application for a addition to the existing property, existing building located at 140 Commerce Court. It's the Cheshire Woodworking business that's there. They're doing a 5,000 square foot addition, pretty large expansion. You'll hear that in November at this point, because we have quite a few public hearings with. Okay.
Okay, so, but that's going to be scheduled. We don't have to schedule, that's already all set.
Yeah.
And then the last thing on our agenda, everybody got Mr. Glidden drew up some plans on the marijuana thing we have to dive ourselves into, because it's February when that thing sunsets, the moratorium we have sunsets. So, and I don't know if anyone has any comments tonight, you're more than welcome to bring them up, but I was thinking of doing it, throwing in one of our planning, conservation, and development meetings down at 207. Bring up one of those meetings to have a discussion on, it seems we can speak freely. We're not trying to hide anything. It's just a lot easier. And I think we get more accomplished when we're not up here and we're down there. And I think that's the right way to go with this. So.
Okay, could staff give us the additional timelines? I know they did a try, they approved a few applications, and there's another set ready to be approved. If we could do that, we get the further timelines from the state, so we
could be up to date.
What are you going to do with what the state intends to license?
Okay.
Sure.
This isn't for licensing for growing. This is for the actual sale for or
So
is it all of it?
I put all of the licenses
Okay.
in this reg, because I think that if we're going to do it, let's do it once.
Okay.
Let's look at all the licenses. They all have different impacts when it comes to quality of life for neighbors.
Yep.
So, and this is just meant for discussion. I'm not telling you this was what you should do, but I think this at least frames the conversation and starts it, because we really should start working on that for February.
Because I know they changed the retail quantities and whatnot.
Yeah, so the retail, like, for example, you had the first rendition of the law said that every community was one license per 25,000. The last session of the General Assembly, that population cap was removed. So you can get as many retail locations as come to your commission at this point. I've asked the town attorney whether we can put something in there to cap the total number of approvals. So he's going to do some research into that. And maybe, hopefully, by the time we have a workshop, I can get an answer for you on that.
What do we think, a November workshop? Something,
Yeah.
whatever the POC meeting is, we'll have it in.
So your POCD meeting in November, that's November 9th.
November 9th.
Mhm.
Tentatively, we'll tentatively schedule something for that, but we'll send out an email, whatever we want to, when we have it finalized down, we'll send out an email.
Okay.
So we could do it in a zoning meeting too, if we want to do it a little bit later in the month too. It doesn't really matter what we,
Honestly, the date, I mean, you can do it on one of those dates, then it's a regular meeting, or if you want to pick another date, it's fine. We can
we just
make
got to
sure.
make sure the room's available.
That's the big, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
But whatever we come up with, does it got to go to a public hearing to talk about it, or?
Good question.
So eventually, yes, for any text amendment, it has to go through a public hearing process, and we'd have to do 2 text amendments. We'd have to do a text amendment to add or put whatever restrictions we want on these licenses. And the second public hearing or second text amendment would be to lift the moratorium, because we have to sunset that moratorium. Even though it's only for
Right.
1 calendar year, we still have to remove it out of the regulations.
And we need a public hearing on that?
Yeah, that's
I
required.
just thought it would sunset itself. It would just, that's.
No, it's technically under statute. You're supposed to treat it like a text amendment, because it's technically in your regulations. Even though it's temporarily in your regulations, it's there. So the only way you can remove something out of your regulations is through the public hearing process.
Yeah, so doing the legwork in 207 is not bad.
Yeah.
We're going to go to public hearing anyway.
So what if we couldn't come to a conclusion and February went by? Does that mean the moratorium's still there if we didn't have the
Well-
public hearing?
So we could extend the moratorium for up to 18 months. So you can extend it for an additional 6 months. Let's say that we hit some roadblocks and we can't agree on how to
Something.
proceed. We can extend it another 6 months. And I think, between workshopping in November and let's say in December, we'll know where we stand by then.
Yeah.
And if worst case is that there's some crossroad that we're struggling. I'd recommend extending the moratorium for additional 6 months, give some breathing time, see if we could figure out what's the issue.
Well,
Or,
let's have a meeting then. Yeah, okay. Because you got a lot of stuff down on this that I was reading and looks pretty good, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you also get an update into what the neighboring communities are doing as well?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know. All right, anything else to come before the commission tonight? Nothing?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Caderas, seconded by Mr. Mercado, and everybody is in favor.